Welcome to the Greg Bennett Show. I'm your host, Greg Bennett. And today I have one of the best conversations I think I've had on the show with one of the greatest swimmers in the world, Bruno Fratus. Bruno joins me in studio and we just have a delightful conversation that both of us were surprised when we looked down and saw it was an hour and a half already. Now, I understand that I can't ask every question imaginable. If you do have questions for Bruno, you can go over to anyquestion.com and sign up there. Go to the Any Question app and ask Bruno any follow-up questions. You can also use his link, anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. That's anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. And you can go on there, you can ask Bruno any follow-up questions you have. You can also listen to answers from so many wonderful Olympic and world and champion athletes and coaches and physiologists, and there's health experts on there and doctors and all sorts of people from varying sports of triathlon, swimming, cycling, running. They're all there. So much content, so much great information. So go check it out. A little bit of housekeeping before we do go on. I just want to thank you for listening to the show and supporting the show. It really does mean the world to me. If you are enjoying the show, you'd be doing me a massive favor if you could share it on your social posts. That really is helpful. I hope you enjoyed this one with Bruno as much as I did. I just think this one was really, really special. And remember, success comes to those who endure just one moment longer. All right, I am joined in my makeshift little studio by one of the fastest swimmers in the world. No one has gone under 22 seconds for 50 meters more than this man. He's approaching 100 sub-22s. Unbelievable, honestly. To put that in perspective, that has him almost in every final and championship race that you can imagine over the past 10 years. He's covered himself with Olympic, World Championship, Pan American, Pan Pacific medals. The guy is just absolutely incredible. But his story hasn't been all sunshine and roses. He's had his mental and physical setbacks, but he just keeps rebuilding and coming back stronger. And he's just the epitome of perseverance. I just love his story so much. In Tokyo Olympics, his third Olympic Games, he became the oldest pool swimmer in history to win their first Olympic medal. His celebration was just absolutely magical. You've got to go check it out on YouTube. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it. It's just an enormous pleasure, an honor to have him sit with me today. So welcome and thank you for joining me on the Greg Bennett Show, Bruno Fratus. How are you, mate?
Greg Bennett, thanks for having me, man. Such a beautiful intro. I think I don't know what to say. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, mate. The fact that you drove up from Coral Springs after training all morning, and those that don't know, it's about an hour drive. I think you've had at least an hour drive to come up and join me in the studio here. So it's really special.
Yeah, it was a good drive, but it's always worth it to stretch a little bit, to have a conversation with a fellow Olympian like yourself. And we have so many things in common. A fourth place in the games, for instance.
Yes, I have a fourth place, but I don't have the third to back it up.
Yeah, but I love this exchange of experiences and ideas with people who really know what I'm talking about.
When you hear an introduction like I just did, do you think that does describe you the best? Actually, let me rephrase this. How would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bruno. Nice to meet you.
I'm just Bruno, guys.
I'm just Bruno. Swimming is just something I do. It's what I love. I'm not even sure it makes me comfortable just to introduce me like, hey, hi, I'm an Olympic medalist. It was just such a small little part of my story of who I am. I'm myself. I'm my own person. I'm a son, husband. I'm not a father, but I have two dogs I love dearly at home. The swimmer, it's a small little part of the whole. I love
that. Because sometimes I do these big introductions and I kind of enjoy them because I think it is worth celebrating and recognizing people that are doing remarkable things that do inspire us. And I would say there's something more about you, and the reason I really wanted you on the show is this idea of never giving up. It's easy to say, It's easy to say. People don't get it. And this is where the inspiration comes from. This idea to just keep persevering, to keep knocking on the door. And that to me is probably what I see in you more than anything. And that's why I really did enjoy preparing this show, where watching you and Michelle at the Tokyo Olympics, getting to celebrate that, because she was your coach. No one else had family there, but she was your coach.
Yeah, she coached me through the entire 5 years of the cycle. Yeah, she started back in the end of 2016, where she never coached swimming before. She was a swimmer. She's an Olympian. She was at the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, but she never coached swimming. And we went going through a little bit of a struggle with some changes after the Rio Games. And she just took a step forward and say, okay, you know what? I'll do it. And at that time, I just look at her and say, what are you talking about? What you going to do? She's like, yeah, I'll coach you. And I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because, of course, she has tremendous potential and she knows what she's talking about because she's an Olympian herself. But I wasn't expecting for that. And it was the most beautiful surprise, the best surprise I could have ever had. And she did such an amazing job, because I usually say that it's so easy to put someone in shape, like the actual physical part of coaching. It's not it's not rocket science, but what coaching really is about is to mentally and emotionally coach someone to the top. And that's the tricky part. And with her being my wife, I think she had all the right tools to coach me to success. And that's exactly what happened.
I can't help but feel somewhat, we have similar kind of stories, in the sense that I met my wife, Laura, in 2000. I had some success in sport. I was reasonable. I was that kind of guy that had won a few races, but really was that not quite there athlete. And she became my mental and emotional support more than anything. And she taught me to manage my ego, not to get rid of it, just to manage ego and manage expectations. I put enormous expectations on myself. And
expectation is the mother of all frustration. Ever heard this one?
Yes. And I think us guys have very similar personalities, right? I think we're both fairly passionate guys. Yes. And to have these strong women in our corner that know how to just get us on that even keel.
Yeah, sometimes we're just training and we're so stuck in our own obsession, because I think that's what it comes down to. You're just obsessive about performance. Yeah. You just forget about talent. You forget about all the rest of all the other things about your life. And you're just obsessed about competing, about racing, about performing, and eventually about winning. And also as guys, we put a lot of aggression into it. And we do need a partner who can see the whole picture and who can interpretate what we're doing outside our own heads, because inside here, it's all just fire and aggression and just harder. And it's good to have someone who can just hug us and calm us down and say what's really happening in a loving and understanding manner.
That's really well said. It's like that, the perspective we all need sometimes, and I was really fortunate because even with Laura, we were both racing at the same time and, trying to get ready for Olympics or World Championships, always doing it at the same time. But she was able to manage her career and mine at the same time. And even when I look at the scoreboard, which us guys, we do tend to look at the scoreboard, she was great at kind of just putting it, my scoreboard tremendously improved once I started working with Laura.
Let's be honest here, we're guys, right? We never really grow up. So we do need them.
Yeah, we do need them, and we're incredibly thankful. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Laura. We're giving you guys a big sell right now and I think there's still plenty more for you going forward here. I want to talk about that a little bit more in the show. But this morning, mate, you've already worked out. What did you do this morning?
I did. I had Brett Hawk, my coach, he felt a little sorry for me this morning. No, I'm kidding. But we didn't have any swim workout this morning, so I hit a big weight session. and a lot of weightlifting, squats, free weights, kettlebells, pretty heavy stuff. And then I just went home, had lunch, and came here.
Right. Well, I appreciate you because I know driving a car after doing heavy weights and squats and everything else is
it's good. It's good. It clears your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the kind of guy that just put some loud music in the car and sing along. I was listening to Typo Negative on the way here, and it's kind of.
Should I know that? I'm sorry if I don't.
I don't know. I just have a really dark taste in music. It's one of my favorite bands, so I just singing along all the way here, and it went quick.
It's like I look at you and I look at some of these sprinters, and you guys are all on Any Question now, a lot of you guys, and you have this personality and this warrior type personality, this gladiator type energy that I can it's almost like the 50-meter freestyle sprint. It's such a powerful event. Do you guys see yourselves as that? You guys, I look at you as the warriors of the pool, the gladiators of the pool. Does it feel like that?
It is. It is a very powerful event. And I think most than anything is really mental.
Yeah.
It's psychological. You can see who's going to perform and who's not going to perform in the call room, in that space right where we concentrate right before the race. Yeah. You can clearly see who's going to be successful and who's going to mess the race up.
Wow. Let's shift gear a little bit. I'll use that. In doing homework for this, I heard you talking about your attitude going into Tokyo compared to Rio and compared to London. And I think I heard you say, I had this attitude of being grateful. And I think a lot of people learned gratefulness after COVID year and being locked down and everything we all said. And that you were actually having fun in the call room.
See, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it makes all the difference to talk to someone who is also an Olympian and know what he's talking about, It's a little bit of that aggression I told you a few minutes ago. On my first 2 Olympic Games, I was putting a lot of power and raw aggression into my races and into my will. It was something guided by a mentality which told me that whoever wants the most is gonna get the medal, and it's not really like that. It's you cannot force such beautiful event. It's the pinnacle of sport. All the best in history of a whole generation or they're competing. You cannot just enforce your will like that. So again, that's when Michelle comes to play. And it was not only the swim coaching, but also the mental coaching that happened, that we were going through this process of being thankful about everything. I was thankful to be in my 3rd Olympic game. Of course, a lot of hard work. It wasn't luck. It definitely wasn't luck. But I was just thankful to be there in my 3rd Olympic Games, competitive. I mean, not only just be there, but fighting for something. And in my 3rd final with the woman I love in my corner, there's nothing wrong here. It's just beautiful. It's perfect. It's a situation that is setting me up for success. So instead of looking for trouble, looking for problems and be stressed out and anxious, of course I was feeling a little anxiety, but instead of being anxious and looking for things to complain about, I was just thankful. Just, you know what? I'm going to go out there and have the best time of my life. Not the best time, like objectively, but like the best moment of my life here. And that's why I think I made sure to give this woman a kiss after I stepped down the podium, because I was just like, you know what? I don't care about the protocols. I don't care about anything. I'm going to give my wife a big kiss, because we made it. We did this together. And I just wanted to show appreciation. I wanted to express myself freely. That's what happened in the race. I was expressing myself freely. I didn't have any expectations towards myself. I was just like, you know what? I'm a 3-time Olympian, man. I'm here. I'm competing. I'll just allow myself to be happy. I'll allow myself to be successful. I'm not going to be in my own way. I'll take my ego, my expectations, my anxiety out of my own way. And I'm going to just walk behind this block and step on the block and race as free as I can. And that's when things happen.
I love that. The way you just described all of that gave me goosebumps. It's this ability to almost hit this state of flow. And I think you've given a bit of a guidebook on how you can reach that through certain word affirmations of being thankful, being grateful, by changing that kind of, okay, I'm still anxious, but let's maybe not call it a negative stress. Let's call it excitement. Let's call it it's like this, having this positive reinforcement, and suddenly things become fun and enjoyable, and you're a kid again, you know?
Yo, I'm 32 years of age. I started training when I was 15. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing that so much. It's listen to yourself talking. You're talking about flow. It flows. It's not forced. You cannot force flow. You cannot deliberately get into flow. It's not a switch, an on and off switch, you know? So you just have to allow it to flow. It's just as simple.
I mean, we're talking about an event that's, like I said, is 21 seconds something. And on a real bad day, you're 22.0 something. You know, I mean, we're talking of such fractions of a second. And I want to get more into this later, but it's on top of mind right now. Can you sense what time you're swimming within?
100%, yes.
So you could be 25 meters in the pool and go, I know I'm going to swim a 21.9 right now, or this is a...
Yeah, of course I cannot sense the hundredths of a second, but to the tenths, yes.
That's beyond me. That's so fascinating.
Because we've been doing that so many times, over and over and over and over again. You mentioned on the introduction, official races in 21 seconds, they're over 90.
That's what you've done, over 90.
Can you imagine the unofficial races, the times I swam 21 seconds in practice? And I mean, at occasions, I did it 3, 4, 5 times in a day.
Wow.
So I easily swam more than 321s in my life. So it's like you just get a feel for it.
Have you ever had it in practice where you go, that was maybe a world record swim?
No,
never that.
No, because I've never won a PB in practice.
You haven't?
Especially because unless you mount the whole setup with the scoreboards and the touchpads, you cannot get an exact official time in practice. It's all hand timed, and that's really subjective. Yeah. But you don't have that adrenaline in practice. So, I mean, the adrenaline is what fuels you to do great things. Still to
be swimming anything near 22 and under 20 just in practice is phenomenal. And I think that's what really excites me about having you here and be able to talk to you, because I'm obviously a huge fan. But just that ability to stay consistent for so long in such a powerful sport where tenths of a second, hundredths of a second, for me,
we're looking forward to the 20-second race now. Listen, Brett Hawk, are you listening?
Are you listening? He'll be listening. We'll send that out to him. I mean, that's what I want to talk about. I mean, why you brought it up. I mean, you guys are swimming faster now than they were in those speed suits, 10 to 15 years ago.
Yes.
Your countryman, Cesar Cielo, still has the world record in, what is that, 20.9?
20.91.
20.91. Yes. What do you think it's going to take to do that? Is it doable? Do you see it being?
I thought you asked what he was gonna take, and I was like, oh, thank God he didn't ask if it was doable. Then you asked if it was doable. If I didn't think it was doable, I'll just rather go back home and retire, man, and do something else. I'll just do whatever. Yeah. Because then it's not worth.
Okay, then let me recorrect it. What parts of the race, if we were to break it down?
It depends. It depends on the athlete. It depends on the athlete, because when you get to that level, it's not that uniform anymore. You have different athletes with different bodies figuring out the race and trying to make their unique bodies swim as fast as they can and cross the pool as fast as it can. So my race would look a certain way, and other swimmers' races would look different. So for me, I feel like I need to improve the first half of the race and improve the last part of the race, the last half of the race. But it's basically like I need to improve the entire race.
Yeah.
So I don't think I need to do anything different. If I start thinking that I need to do something completely different from what I've been doing in the last years, I'll set myself up because I've been swimming a certain type of way for over 10 years now. And I just need to keep doing that, but better, doing the same thing, but faster. So using my own qualities and trying to minimize my mistakes, trying to minimize my downsides of the race, but using my strengths to my favor.
I'm all about double downing on strengths. That's my whole thing.
I think so
and
too.
Mitigating weaknesses, like you need to outsource or figure out how to mitigate weaknesses. But I think we all have to play to our strengths. Identifying them and then play to them, I think, is really critical. I mean, you're not the biggest guy in the 50 meter sprinting. I mean, you've come in here and you're still 6'1" and your shoulders are still wide as all hell. But it's like when I see you in photos next to some of the other guys on the pool day, like Manadu and
that's
these
exactly
guys are big men.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not the biggest guy in the field, but I am the lightest guy in the field. And when you're talking about accelerating. Actually, let me correct that. When you're in the water, it's physically impossible for you to accelerate. So you just have to maintain speed. You know, you have to avoid resistance from water in order for you to maintain speed. And if you are, let's say, 40 pounds lighter than the guy next to you, guess who have the advantage?
They got to push a lot to push
a lot more water. They're going to spend a lot more oxygen trying to do what you're doing with I'll call it a carbon fiber carcass.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So it's just using your strength to your own advantage.
Yeah. And even when you think about jumping off the blocks, like diving off the blocks, and if you think about the greatest long jumpers in the world or high jumpers in the world, the guys that are literally, that's all they do. They jump. They're not big, huge men, are they?
Yeah,
or ladies.
Then a quick fun fact. When you're talking swimming, the heavier body carries more momentum after breaking the surface of the water.
One is going to be flying through the air further, but the other one's going to break through the water and go faster.
That's why my start in swimming, you can underwater kick until the 15 meters mark. That's why I don't. I just pop right up and start swimming.
Is that right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the heavier guys, they're going to carry that momentum from the block and they're going to break this resistance from the water with all that weight. I cannot do that. If I do that, I'm behind.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So I just pop right up and sprint.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What about then Caleb Dressel? He's not much bigger than you.
He's a little bigger and he's definitely heavier. Yeah.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
He's definitely heavier.
Because he's doing something special underwater.
He is. And he's using to his quality, to his advantage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a great underwater kicker. Actually, I think Caleb is a great athlete. Period.
Yeah.
If he was playing ball,
he's one of those guys.
He would be MVP.
Hate those guys.
I don't.
No, I'm teasing.
It's just in the beginning of my career, I had Cesar Cielo, world record holder.
Yeah.
Then a few years later, Flohamanadu popped up. He showed up, and if you ask me, one of the best sprinters who ever lived. And now recently, I have Caleb Dressel, and plus I went at Worlds. I went second place to Caleb 2 times. So let's do that imagination play. If it wasn't for Caleb, I would have been a 2-time world champion. And that would have been boring. That would have been boring. I wouldn't be swimming right now if that would have happened in the past. So having Cesar, having Florent, having Caleb, it's what really keeps me going and motivated and pushing through and trying to do groundbreaking stuff like getting my first medal at 32 years of age and trying to swim 121s and now striving for a world record, even though the whole world doesn't even consider me for such feat. You
think the whole world doesn't consider you for such a feat?
I think I'm not the obvious choice. I think I'm not. I'm definitely not the obvious choice.
That's often where people get blindsided then later on. And you're like, hang on, I was right here. But you guys...
That's when you see it on the lane line and you flex and you're boom in your faces, you know? I love that.
Yeah, it's like, yes, take that, everybody. Well, mate, let's change gear a little bit. I want to rewind the clock. And let's go back to your childhood a little bit. When did you sort of fall in love with swimming? What was your childhood like? And were you an athlete across ball sports?
2000 games.
The 2000 games?
Sydney. Yeah? Yes. Yeah. I was in a swim meet. I was a young swimmer. And I was on this swim meet. And the Olympics were on. And on that occasion, our coach let us stay up late to watch the relay, the 4x1 freestyle, where Brazil came from behind and earned the bronze medal. Such an amazing, beautiful race. I think on the last leg, they were maybe 5th or 6th. And this, I'll call him this freshman, this team freshman, he just jumped in the water, he swam his brains out, and he got the bronze medal.
That's awesome.
And I just look at it, I got goosebumps just by thinking of it. And I just look at it, I was, I think, 11. And I was like, that's so awesome. And I have the opportunity of doing this that they're doing tomorrow. I'm at a swim meet. So the next day I swam, like I was visualizing myself on that same situation, on that same like episode of the history of sport, you know? And that's when I think that's when the idea of being a swimmer was really imprinted in my subconscious.
How did the race go? That next day when you were 11?
I have no idea. I was 11.
Sorry,
I just wanted, maybe I just wanted to have fun racing, go back home and eat a huge bowl of cereal. That was in watching cartoons. I was just 11.
Sorry, you painted such a good picture. I was still going down that trail.
No, I have no idea. I just wanted to go back home and watch some cartoons.
That's awesome. And so then you really took to swimming. You know, you had that identity that was what you wanted to do.
And then when I was 15, I had the first coach who really tried me because he was already a national team coach, but he was a national team coach for the open water. And he was coaching his son that by that time he was the national champion of the mile. I didn't know how to distinguish a mile coach from a sprint coach. I mean, I was 15. My parents didn't know either. I mean, we only knew that.
Well, I think that's even fairly modern. I feel like all swimmers were over swimming distance for forever.
And I do believe you need to build a base. You need to go through some struggles. Other way, you just got like today's kids, soft.
Yeah.
And I started to swim with this coach, and he really tried me, and he really started to mentor me and coach me in and outside of the pool. I did my first 100 hundreds under his coaching, and some of the craziest sets I did under his coaching. I remember this episode that was like 9 p.m. and my dad was pissed off outside the pool, just waiting for the workout to be over, and it was raining. And I was just doing, I think at that time I was doing like 80 hundreds kicking, which is like unimaginable.
Wow.
It's just...
That's a long time.
I mean, if we're being honest, it's just stupid to do that. It's just something...
Yes, but it makes a good story now.
Yeah, it makes a good story now for a podcast. And I was like crying underneath my goggles. But that coach telling me to suck it up and keep swimming, keep kicking, it's what built a lot of my persistence and a lot of my character to be the athlete I am today. By the end of the year, I earned my first juniors national championship medal. And I made my first juniors national team and so on. So
I was going to say...
When I was 15 was when I really, really started becoming the athlete I am today.
So it was when you were 15, you kind of felt like, actually, I'm pretty good at this.
Like, the next year, everybody was doing college applications, and I was emailing coaches in Brazil, telling them I wanted to go to the Olympics.
And so how did that work out for you? Were you able to find a coach, and did you get
so I was able to find a coach. Swimming in Brazil, he works in clubs, private clubs.
Right.
And this coach of the biggest private club in Brazil, he was coaching Cesar Cielo. I mean, on and off.
Yeah.
He was actually the club coach of Cesar. He replied me and said, yeah, you can come, and there's a space for you here in the lane. And then I told my parents I was just a senior in high school at that time, and I had a tough conversation with my parents, right? So, hey, I'm not going to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever. I want to swim. And my dad was like, excuse me, what? And that's when we had the whole conversation. Say, okay, at least finish high school and do whatever you want to do. I mean, you're a man already.
Yeah.
I was 17 at that time, actually 16. And I finished high school. I applied for universities, got accepted, but I just didn't go. And we bought a one-way ticket to São Paulo. It was pretty far from where my parents lived, and I went to live with my uncle. And I was just riding 2 buses to practice on one way and 2 buses back. And I started there.
I love that. Yeah. It's like I love that you knew what you wanted at such a young age. I think that's I feel like a lot of kids, especially in those teenage years where we're all trying to figure out, it's a tough time of life, and I want to talk to you about some of that in a moment, but to be able to identify what you were passionate about and pull the trigger at a pretty early age of, I want to go do this. I think there's a lot of, we see a lot of it in society now where people, they don't have purpose. They don't have purpose and they are lost. So it's nice that you got that at a younger age.
They do. You know why that it seems so, in my opinion, you know why that seems so impressive to us today as adults? Because we have mad anxiety and we have mad worry.
Yeah, true.
And we have mad a lot of things we had no idea about. We have mad financial anxiety that we had no idea about that when we were teenagers. Mm-hmm. So it was so easy back in the time just to take a decision and go and follow. I mean, it sounds corny, but just follow your heart.
When you're a teenager, one of the gifts I got was having incredible privilege by the sense that my parents would always allow me to come home. And that, to me, when we talk privilege, I always think it starts with the fact that I was allowed to go explore any and all opportunity in the world. And if I fell in a heap, there'd always be a bed for me at home. And that's not to say they maybe wouldn't want me to pay some rent and do, help out or whatever it is, but I knew I was allowed to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. That reminds me of the many times I called back home crying on my first couple of years. I was like, I can't take it anymore. And my mom was like, well, come back home. Your room is here. Mm-hmm. We haven't made your room into an office yet. So your room is here. And my dad was the one who said, well, you can come back home, but is that what you really want? I mean, dig deep inside yourself and find that answer. And in the end of the day, I was like, no, you're right. Yeah.
You had that support from family, I
did. And that's the real privilege, man. Yeah. When people talk privilege, they often mention money. But I think the real privilege one can have is having a home, having a father and a mother, or 2 fathers or 2 mothers, or just someone who really cares about you and really loves you without expecting anything back and really wants to see you succeed just for the sake of it. And that's the real privilege, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're both very privileged in that sense.
And of course, health.
Of course, yeah. Health is a big one. We can go into that in a moment. But
when you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes, you're already winning.
Yeah, you're already winning. Exactly. Yeah. I get to start a new day, and I think that's where I even going through all this last couple of years with COVID and lockdowns, and I've kind of always looked at every day as like, wow, a bonus, and that I always feel like we should all be feeling like, I don't know how to put this in a way but any day could be our last day. And if anything, this COVID thing has almost given everybody a bit of a slap in the face to say, wake up, be grateful, and you're lucky to have it. I want to just ask one more thing. I was listening to some of your answers on Any Question, which you've been answering up a storm. And it's
such a fun app, man. If you let me, I'll spend the whole day there.
Oh yeah, it's just, it's like what I've realized in building this app along with Ed Baker and having some of the world's greatest athletes and coaches come on and be just tremendously authentic. And this one that I want to bring up, vulnerable. Because you mentioned in one of them, somebody young, I won't mention their name, asked, about bullying. And your reply was just so authentic, vulnerable, and just inspiring to that young guy. I can imagine him reading it now. And you really described it as the bullier. The person bullying you has their own insecurities and they've got their own problems that they're dealing with, and that's why they're taking out on you. But it was so well said. I just wanted to mention that one and I think you even talk about your parents being supportive when you were even bullied a little bit
Oh, yeah, and I promise it sounds so much smarter in Portuguese. That answer was in English.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. But while we were talking about your parents,
I had a little bullying episode when I was a kid. I mean, I was the kid carrying a mesh bag inside the classroom and always smelling like chlorine and the wet hair, right? So I got beat up a couple times, but that was before I grew bigger than the other guys. Yeah. Then not so much. Yeah. By junior year, I was already like twice as wide as everybody else.
Yeah, doing all that swimming and weightlifting, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we're not going to pick on Bruno."
Maybe let's not pick on the swim guy. Yeah, I went through a few episodes. I think we all have our struggles, you know. And I had a problem with being vulnerable a while back. I thought that would make me less of a man, less of a competitor. But then you just mature, you grow, right? And as I said, not only as a swimmer, but you grow as a man, you grow as a person. Yeah. And now I make sure to, especially in that question, was a young guy, right? A young man asking me about it. So I make sure I show them vulnerability so they know it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to go through struggle and it's okay not to have actually anything figured out. So it's just trying to empathize a little bit with people around you, because man, if you get to a position where people look up to you, that's almost like your obligation to be reachable, you know, and to help and to like extend your hand and help people and pull them up. If you just do it for the sake of having like likes and followers of Instagram, or maybe a big sponsor, or maybe filling your pockets of money or whatever, I mean, it's just, what are you really doing? That's not, I truly believe in legacy, and the legacy I want to leave people. It goes a little bit through, if I did it, everyone can do it. You know, I don't think I'm special. I'm just a guy who, I mean, that's one thing my dad told me. My dad taught me two really valuable lessons when I was a kid. Number one, those who want it, find a way. Those who don't really want it, find an excuse. Therefore, there's a big difference between want something and wish you could have it. You know? And number two, crossing the pool faster than everybody else doesn't make you special. So make sure to humble yourself and help others. And that's something I carry with me a lot. Well,
that was so well said, all of that. And I think what you've done and shown on Any Question and on these podcasts and any interviews that I've seen of you is when you see that sort of young man reaching out, it's almost like saying, you're not alone. I'm not special. I'm here for you, and others are here for you too. And we're all going through our own troubles, and we're all trying to figure out how to get through. You know, we're all human.
Let's do it together. Let's grow together. Of course, if you step on a block on the lane beside me, I'm gonna make sure I kick your ass.
Yeah, of course. But that's the strongest mateship.
I'll make sure I make you question your entire existence if you try to race me in a 50 free. But I'm here for you, man. I'm here. I mean, let's get better together. Let's be better together.
But on that kind of racing mentality, I don't know about you, but my strongest bonds with all my mates that are the ones that tested me more than anything, right? The ones that tried to destroy me and I tried to destroy them, I'm now the closest with, right? We went to hell and back together. We went to war together, and it's kind of like, you know.
Is there any way to show more respect to a competitor of yours than giving 100%? Yeah. I cannot imagine. I'll actually get pissed if someone just save up in a race against me. Yeah. It's the same time sometimes coaches, they quote unquote lie for the best when it comes to training feedback and timing sprints of practice. Yeah. I just hate it. Why are you doing this? Be honest. Yeah. You know, just give your best.
I don't need to just feel good for
exactly.
vanity. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, biggest display of respect you can have for a competitor is just kick his ass.
A quick mini break to just remind you to go check out Any Question. You can either go to anyquestion.com and download the app from there, or you can download it straight from your iOS or Android phone, or you can use Bruno's link, and that is anyquestion.com anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. If you look back at your career right now, you're 32, been to 3 Olympics and multiple world championships and everything else. Is there one sort of fondest memory that stands out?
Oh, wow. Jeez. Kissing my wife after Olympic medal. That's one. It's hard for me to think because I'm still on the goal, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still going. I don't really display my medals around the house, in a frame. My dad has like his walls covered in diplomas, titles, articles, medals.
All of yours, or have you got siblings?
No, all of mine.
Yeah.
my sister, she started in swimming and then she migrated to dance.
Yeah.
And now she's a dancer, like amateur dancer, and she does dancing presentations like ballet,
Very
but
cool.
she's a journalist.
Yeah.
And I don't display medals. I don't like to stop and think too much about what happens, about situations like that, because I'm still going. There's so much more. I think if I stop and start cherishing and start admiring what I do and at some sort of recognizing that all I done, it's so special, I think I end up like getting too comfortable.
It almost takes away the drive.
Yeah. Oh, my Olympic medal, my World Championships medal, my Pan Am's medals, they're all deep in a drawer.
Yeah.
I don't even look at them. I mean, sometimes I take off and I look, twice a year.
They're pieces that you've collected along the way of your journey, but your journey is still far from over.
Yeah, but there are episodes like, of course, the first thing that comes to my mind, it's kissing Michelle after the medal. That was the most beautiful, to this day, man, the most beautiful day of my life yet. But every time a young swimmer or someone who wishes to be an Olympian comes to me and asks for something, a picture to sign their cap, or when I give one of my caps away, or someone just reaches out and send me a DM telling me that, hey, I was applying for medical school and I was always quitting, but then I watch you and I follow your story and like, thanks for not making me quit, for not letting me quit. And things like that are very special, and small displays of recognition from those who really matter. Like regular people who are hustling daily. That's the small little special moments I like to be thankful for.
Yeah, I love that you come from a place of gratitude like that. I feel like you're doing sport for all the right reasons, and I think that's really commendable. I guess the next question I have to ask is then, do you have a least fond memory, and I guess what did you learn from that memory in the past that maybe sticks out that you didn't enjoy, that was something in your career that you're like, I didn't particularly like, but I did learn this or this or this?
I'm not sure. Then if I said that, I would be saying that I don't really like the person I am today, because all these episodes made me who I am today, and I wouldn't change a thing. I like who I am today. I love myself. I respect myself. I think I'm worthy of all the success and everything I won for my life, all my goals in and outside the water. And that's just part of growing. That's just part of maturing as a person and as an athlete. That's just, when you look back, of course, there are episodes that you wish you have done different, but you didn't know any better. I do believe in people do everything out of pure goodwill, Of course, there's evil people out there, but let's not focus on them. And I do believe that people do things out of goodwill, and all the choices, all the decisions I made in the past, I was trying to make the best decision at the time.
Yeah,
so I mean, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like, oh man, if I were the person I am today 10 years ago, that would have been so much fun.
I know. Isn't it funny when you look back with everything that you learn as an athlete, and then you go, if only. I kind of look back at 2000 Olympic Games in my world, and I was ranked number 2 in the world. I'd won on the Sydney Test event the year before. It was a hometown sort of event that I thought I'd do really well. Long story short, got left off the Olympic Games team, and it was like a court case. It was all an awful thing. It was the only time I got on the front page of the newspapers in Australia, not the back page, which is usually left for sport. And then I moved to Canada during that 2000 summer, went because a friend of mine, Simon Whitfield, said, Greg, why don't you come over and help me get ready for the Olympic Games? And so I said, all right. I was pretty despondent with the whole thing. While I was in Canada, I met my wife, Laura. My mate, Simon Whitfield, went off to win the gold medal, which was still a career highlight for me because it was a real brotherhood journey that we had together, and it was a very special moment. And I kind of go, so my worst experience I had in my career was also my very best experience. And it's like you said, I wouldn't be the man I am today without having that time in sport. That I kind of, when people ask me that same kind of question, what's your least favorite fond memory? I'm like, well, but it makes up who I am today. And quite often that negative did turn into a massive positive going forward.
And you can do the opposite exercise. You can, if I think like that today, like looking back and wishing I was the person I am today in that, it's hard to even put this phrase together because what are the situations, the current situations you're dealing with today that in 10, 20 years from now, you're going to wish you knew better.
Exactly.
Just do the opposite. I try to do this today. Every time I have something I'm struggling with or something that requires like for me to bring the best of my skills, I just try to think, say, hey, what 50-year-old Bruno would do?
I love that. I like that.
And I try to do my best again.
I think that's a great way to look at it. And now that I am 50, if I look back to what I was when I was 32, honestly, I wouldn't change it.
From now on, just going to call you that.
There you go. I'll be your 50-year-old Bruno. I don't know if I'm wise enough for that, but it is a fascinating way to look at it. I want to talk about some of your mental strategies that you do, and if you do them, and what kind of practices you have. So things like visualizing. Are you somebody that practices visualizing? Does it just come naturally?
I visualize so much sometimes I just feels like I'm daydreaming.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm those type of person that they just think they're the main character in their own action movie.
Yeah.
So that's quite like me. I do have my own soundtrack. I live under music, listening music every day and through an entire day, and I imagine it as the soundtrack of my life and being the main role in my own movie. And I do a lot of visualization, and I do a lot of try to anticipate things that are gonna happen, and not in a way I can control it, but just so I'm ready.
So can you give me an example of what visualizing looks for you? I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I was to describe some of the way because I was very colorful in my own mind as well, and it was quite visual, and I could do workouts and create the energy inside me, and people that have listened to this show would know that I'm a huge advocate for what you think has a direct impact on your physiology. That what you think affects your hormones. It affects everything at a very deep level. And so what I'm trying to get at is, do you have examples that we can share with listeners of how you visualize?
Well, there's this daydreaming part that I talked about, that I'm just playing scenarios in my mind that make me feel good, that make me happy, that it's basically me achieving my goals and being happy with whatever makes me happy. And there's, of course, the technical, let us call it this way, visualization, where I'm trying to feel what's going to happen in the race, and how I want to feel in the race, and what I want to execute in the race.
Do you visualize, say, driving to the pool, going to the call room, just walking out?
I did a while back. It has become a little more natural for me now. I don't really anticipate anything in that regard. I just go there and I walk to the pool, and I try to get used to the whole environment before. Like you won't see me getting at the pool just a couple days before, or just the night before the race. I've been there for a good few days, and I got used to the environment and all that. But yeah, I've done that before.
This is where I start to really think about, it's such a short moment in time, 21 seconds, 20.9 0 seconds.
Oh, not quite there yet.
But no, in terms of the visualizing, it's such a short space, and it has me curious as to what's actually going on in the pool when you're in the actual race. Are you aware of where you are in the race? You can actually tell?
Yeah. But it's not logical. Does that make sense? I'm not thinking objectively where I am. I just feel where I am. I feel who's on my side and if they're ahead, if they're behind. I just feel the race. It's not like, I'm at the 30, at the 35, at the 37 meter mark. I just have a really good notion on where I am.
And you don't take a breath, right? For the 50 meter?
No. Best races, no.
Yeah. So in the final, you commit to diving in, not taking a breath.
But the not breathing thing, it's...
how much does a breath cost you?
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not... of course, you're not going to breathe because that's going to cost you time.
It does cost a bit of time.
But it's not that hard to make a 50 free without a breath. I'm talking about Olympic level athletes. It's not that hard to make a 50 freestyle without a breath. Because it's more mental than physical.
Yeah.
Can you hold your breath for 20 seconds?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Everybody can.
But I'm not spitting my arms around it and ripping through the water as well.
No, but it's more psychological than any other thing because, of course, you're going to feel the lack of oxygen at some point.
Yeah.
But you got to get used to it. And the repetition of race after race after race makes you get used to it and get used to the idea that relax, you're going to breathe in like 3 seconds. Just chill.
Yeah. I just find that the whole event quite extraordinary because it's like you have this almost, you would know, actually this is a question I want to ask. If you swim, have you found yourself swimming easily, say in the semifinals, say a 21.5, and then in the final you do the same time but it felt hard? Do you have those differences sometimes?
Yes. Let me start by saying that the best races, my best times, they felt effortless.
Yeah.
From the get-go until the time I put my hand in the wall, they felt effortless. Mm-hmm. And after I went out the pool, chat with everybody, and I was breathing just fine. And the hard races, they're the ones who really feel heavy. But in Tokyo that happened because in Tokyo we had the afternoon finals. The afternoon prelims and the morning finals, right?
Oh, wow. So the next morning?
Yes, because of TV time.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because NBC pays for the whole thing.
My point is in saying that, it's not just 22 seconds of work. It's like getting there, refueling, sleep, everything, right?
Listen to that. I swam prelims around 7 or 8 p.m.
Wow.
And I had a really easy swim, like super extremely easy swim in 21.6.
Wow.
And then I was done, let's say I was done by 8:30. I had taken my dinner to the pool and I ate out of a Tupperware.
Yeah.
And I had my dinner on the massage table while the Team Brazil physiotherapist, shout out Nathan, big guy, he was just loosening my legs and I was having dinner. And Michelle got everything ready. She packed my stuff and she gave me the backpack, said, go home. I went to the village. By the time I got to the village, I didn't have to go to the dining hall because, the dining hall, it takes a whole 90 minutes to get through the entire experience. I just went straight to my room. I had a shower, like a cold shower, relax, and went to bed. By the time I went to bed, it was around 11. Wow. And you still have a little bit of adrenaline and you have to control your nerves because you're swimming semis.
Yeah, did you have any caffeine in your system or anything?
No, not at the time because it's something you anticipate. I'm not going to take any caffeine at 8.
You're confident enough that you're going to make the finals?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something I say, if you have trouble going through prelims, you're screwed.
You've got bigger issues.
You got bigger issues. But next morning, semis.
Yeah.
And people don't mess around in semis.
Yeah.
Semis is when people really go, because once you're in the final, it's like you're in the final, man, whatever. Just freak it, know?
Yeah.
The next morning I had semis, and you have to control the nerves, you meditate a little bit, you take a deep breath, and you're not sleeping until midnight. So, okay, let's say midnight I was sleeping. I had to wake up 5:30 in the morning to be ready.
It's not a lot of resting. It's not a time of going, I'm going to get a good night's sleep. You kind of know that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Had you prepared for that on that? Had you done that kind of training?
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why it makes athletes like Caleb so special.
Yeah, because he had to do it how many times?
He had to do it for an entire week.
Yeah.
This guy's just a dynamo.
Yeah.
You know?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And I mean, he done it. It's like if he did
still
it,
sleeping now.
Yeah, but it's like if he did it, other people can do it as well. But just the fact that he did it is just like, dude. I mean, hats off to you because you're really something, you know.
Yeah.
And like the next morning, you wake up at 5:30. And you're like, okay, I'm not rested, but let's go swim semis. And then when you take the caffeine and all, and I was like, okay, this Olympic record is going down right now. It's 21:3. It was by that time. And then I jump in the pool, wrestle my way through the entire 50. I had Flohan and I do by my side. I was like, dude, it's me, Flohan, in this race. It cannot go wrong. Mm-hmm. And we just push it. We went for it. 21:6 again.
Exact same time.
And the night before, I had 2 breaths.
Wow.
I had 2 breaths the night before.
What does a breath cost you? Do you guys know that?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But I'm not going to PB. I'm not going to personal best if I take a breath.
Yeah. But you were spinning the wheels.
We're going for it. Let's go. And then 21:6 again. We look at each other and say, well, I hope we're in. I hope we make it.
Oh, is that right? Because it's all done on times,
right?
Yeah,
but everybody ended up, that affected everybody. And everybody ended up swimming a little slower or about the same time.
Yeah.
And that the afternoon we were able to rest and relax and all that. But swimming in the morning is so much different.
And so when was the final then? It was the next day?
The next morning.
Oh, it was a morning final again?
Yeah, it was the next morning.
Would you prefer evening?
Oh, no, I think
when have you
finals need to be in the evening.
Yeah, you feel better.
But it's that thing. If finals are in the morning, finals are in the morning. You do what you have to do.
Of course. But have you found when you look at your 100 or so sub 22, have you found that you swum most of them in the evenings?
Yes, most of them in the evening.
Yeah, so your body's well and truly warmed up. And
it's because in the evening it's just circadian cycle. It's just you feel better, you perform better at the end of the day.
It was so funny, but you mentioned Caleb Dressel and that week he had, and watching your celebrations, which went viral on YouTube, and how much you enjoyed that with Michelle and everything, and you guys were wanting to take it in, and Caleb just wanted to get to the change room, but he didn't want to be rude. Yeah. He's that kind of a guy.
Shout out Caleb Dressel for understanding. Yeah, thanks,
he was very good. He kept hanging in
thanks,
there.
Man.
And then as soon as he knew he could run, he basically took off.
Caleb's an amazing guy. He comes from a great family background, and he's very kind, very polite, and he's a great person to be around. And I think there's so much more coming from him. He literally have a shot of being the best in history over even Michael Phelps, and I'm definitely. I hope I can have an upset on the 50 free sometime soon, but I'm really rooting for him.
Well, I think what I've seen from you guys, and I've got to know Caleb actually a little bit through answering questions, and even getting to text him every now and then, and a bit with, I'm a bit awestruck by you guys. I'm not going to lie, and it's been sort of fun getting to know you on any question on the platform. But then what I do is I go back and watch all the races on YouTube, so that I feel like there's even a deeper connection now that I have with all of you guys. And it is impressive just to not only watch you as athletes, but watch you as human beings. And you all are carrying yourself incredibly well. And that's what I want to lead into now about the sport of swimming, because what I'm seeing are some of not only the greatest athletes on the planet and these gladiator warriors that I see, taking on each other in the pool, but I see some of the best people, the most inspirational, authentic, and vulnerable people. And I think that's really impressive. And I'm curious as to what you think swimming needs to do to step from where it is to become a more professional and a big sport that you guys are making bigger incomes, the sponsors are more attractive. What's it going to take for swimming to become that kind of a...
This is such a complex situation.
It is a complex one, and it's more of a discussion, and we're here.
We're just speaking in general terms here, and I'm sure people who need to think on real solution and a definitive solution or thinking about it, but in my point of view, where I'm come from, I see that we tremendously lacking a better marketing on our sport. If you look to other professional leagues, starting from the point that the other professional leagues like NFL, NBA, and other leagues, the focal point, it's on the athlete. So the athlete is the center of their universe, because I truly think people don't follow the sport. They don't want to see random people, let's say, playing basketball. They want to see LeBron. They want to see Michael Jordan. They want to see Kobe. They don't want to see random people playing soccer. They want to see Cristiano.
It's the personalities doing incredible
exactly.
things.
They don't want to see random people playing ball. They want to see Tom Brady and Odell and the different personalities and the clash of personalities.
But you guys have that personality.
But we're not marketed as these personalities. All the marketing work, we try to do ourselves. It's up to you to go out there in social media and try to speak up your voice and show your image.
I've got some ideas. Do you want to hear some of my ideas?
Shoot it.
And these are kind of crazy ideas. How about removing lane lines and having 16 guys start in the water together in a 50-meter sprint?
Oh, that's called open water swimming.
I know, but put it in the pool.
Oh my God. I don't know. It takes away from the sport a little bit.
I know, but just think about, you love boxing, don't you? I've heard you love boxing.
Oh my God, that sounds like liability, man.
Yeah, but spectators love it. Spectators
we'll have a hard time. We'll have a hard time hiring insurance.
And I'm not sure how we do the 100 meters and the flip turns, but okay, that brings me to my next point. Maybe if we had like the 100 meters where it's actually got to get out at the other end, touch something and dive back in. I'm just trying. I'm coming from marketing.
Maybe. I still think myself as a purist when it comes to the sport of swimming.
I know, but we've got to think about how do we market it.
One thing that I didn't think like that a few years ago, and now I'm starting to shift my point of view a little bit, is that I think that bringing back those super suits, those full body rubber suits, would do swimming good. Because we'll get people talking about swimming again. I remember how it was back in that time, and everybody was so interested about learning about the suits.
Remember Ian Thorpe? He was ankle to wrist.
Yes. And I think they'll do swimming a little good. Keep things interesting.
Yeah.
But that's, as I said, that's a complex spot. But what I think we can do right now, it's advertise the athletes a little better and build personas.
No, I agree with that.
Of the athletes.
I agree with that.
Because, people want to see Caleb racing. People want to see Ledecky racing or Kyle Chalmers.
In Australia, our swimmers are on the sides of buildings and billboards. Michael Klim, Ian Thorpe, Kyle Chalmers. These guys are, and our women. Oh my goodness, I've just forgotten.
That started somewhere, right?
Women. Yeah, and I think it's because swimming as a cultural sport in Australia that's what you do. Every kid swims, because we all live on the coast. And like in Brazil, soccer is your sport, or football, I should call it. That is the country sport by far, right? True. I think swimming for us is right up there. It's like, so when you become an Ian Thorpe, Michael, and I'm blanking on all the amazing
Michael Klim
women. Yeah, Michael Klim. I'm sorry, and all the women. Excuse me for. Emma McKeon,
Ariana,
but even I'm going
Campbell.
back to the 90s and 2000s. Susie O'Neill, that was the name that was stuck in my mind. These people have just become icons in Australia.
Yes.
Grant Hackett, these guys, massive celebrities. And I think it can be done globally. But I think, like you said, there is a huge marketing. I'm curious as to what you, in your controllable environment, what you think you could do in your area to be more professional. Because I've heard Brett Hawke say you're the most professional swimmer he's ever worked with, right?
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's a quote I heard, and but it's like, how can you do more on your own, or is there anything you can do?
These are two different subjects. About being a professional, I think it's just about doing whatever you want to do and taking it seriously. Don't waste people's times. Don't waste your coach's time. Don't waste your manager's time. Don't waste your Olympic Committee and Swim Federation time. Just be serious.
Do what you're going to do with intent.
Exactly.
Intent is the word that we're
serious about it. Don't mess around.
I like that. Yeah.
And what I do in my end, I don't know, man. I try to do it so naturally, but I try to keep it interesting. As I said prior, I try to give something back to people that, one, they're looking for, and two, what I think they can use. I don't think people, talking about me in third person, for as weird as it might sound, but I don't think people want to watch Bruno swimming because they like Bruno. They never met me. So they want to see me swim and they root for me and they follow my story because all of that make them feel some kind of way. Maybe give them hope, maybe give them inspiration, maybe, I don't know, they feel something when they look at me, when they see me racing, when they're rooting for me, when they follow my story, when they see a picture I post, a video I post, or something. So I try to give them that without being artificial, because I think as soon as you start building something artificial out of your image, that's when you lose. You want to be honest with people. So I just try to say, hey, I'm Bruno. This is me. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, go for a walk. Yeah. But I just try. Of course, I have my personal moments, my alone time, but I try not to hide myself too much. And I'm just here. I'm just allowing the world to see me. I'm just allowing the world to see me.
I think that's a fantastic way of putting it.
Yeah, and coming back a little bit, I think you are right. If we could reinvent the swim competition in some kind of way, that would be good.
Look, I don't listen to me
the
too
lane
much,
lines,
but
though.
Keep the lane lines. How's your sponsorship going? Without getting too personal, have you got good support?
Oh, I have some of the most amazing partners and sponsors. Yeah. In the game, currently I have Arena. It's been with me for a while. Huge. I consider them to be part of my family this far. It's been a dream of mine being sponsored by my favorite swim brand since I was a young athlete.
That's cool.
Now Foods provides me with all the health products and supplements and nutrition products I need. Also, there's Allianz Insurance. It's a bit more of a corporate sponsorship that we started a relationship before the games, and they're the global sponsor of the Olympic and Paralympic movement. We do get funding from Brazilian government and the Olympic Committee, so it's in that regard we've been well taken care of.
Are you doing any public speaking? Because I think your story and the way you speak is phenomenal. Do you speak for corporations?
I do make myself available for that, but it's not something that I advertise and sell so much because
it can take away from
it takes away. I love doing clinics.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of energy be dealing with kids. I mean, you have two of your own, right? And it takes a lot of energy when you deal with kids for the entire weekend. It's something I'm gonna do after I'm done with competing, but right now I just have to stay focused on my craft.
Yeah.
It always depends on the opportunity. If it's something that I feel is really worth it, both financially and as far as what I'm gonna say, it's gonna be used and it's gonna change people's lives or perspectives, I think it's really worth it. And then I'll find a way to do it. It's not just doing for doing it.
Well, I think anybody listening to this, if you want to have a great speaker, I think you'd be phenomenal. I think for anybody that's out there in the corporate world that want to sponsor one of the best men I think I've met in a long time, I think they should be checking you out. I think you're the full package.
You're trying to gain my heart, man.
No, I'm not trying to gain your heart. I wish I had the financial backing to support your journey, because what I want to ask you now, I only got a couple of questions here left, so I'll let you go because I know.
Thanks, man. You're too kind.
Is what do you have next? What is the future?
What is the future?
2 years to Paris, mate.
Does anyone knows? What is the future, eh? As far as season, we're having a little 2020 deja vu right now because their swim meet's being canceled. I was going to go to a pro swim series here in Tennessee. It was canceled. Then another one in Iowa. It was canceled as well. So right now it's a little insecure. It's a little, we're not sure what's about to happen. But also we're going to have World Championships in Japan this May, which was postponed for the second time, but now it was postponed in over a year. It's not going to happen until June 23.
Oh, wow.
So we're still trying to figure out, as we talked here before I start recording, Brett, my coach, he's going to be coming here. He's arriving here tomorrow. So we're going to have the opportunity to sit down and really draw a plan. But it's hard to be sure about anything nowadays, right?
How is that? I mean, I felt for all of you all in 2020 when you're trying to train but not train because you don't know what you're really training for.
It is tough because as an athlete, since a very young age, you learn how to live by seasons, right? When you become an Olympian, your life happens every 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you lose track of a goal, of a countdown like that, it's almost like the floor below you just disappears.
Yeah.
And you're just floating in space without a purpose. So it's being very mentally challenging, and not to talk about the obvious part of it, which is it's hard to plan, to periodicize a training block, not knowing when you're supposed to peak, right?
Yeah, I feel for you guys, and I know there's a lot of people dealing with even bigger things in their lives, and everything else. But I do feel for
that's a great problem to have, if you ask me. But it's just.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, right?
It is.
Gotta be a grown man and deal with it.
Yeah. Well, mate, I had so many more other questions for you here, but I feel like I've taken so much of your time, and we actually did cover more in other areas than I thought we would.
If you want to go for 3-4 more, and then we head back for a coffee. I mean,
all right. Well, I will ask you.
I do have to cook dinner for my lovely wife tonight because Saturday night we have 2 nights of dating. In the week. Yeah. One of them is usually Wednesday or Thursday night.
Yes.
There we go out.
Yes.
And Saturday night is it's the night I usually cook something. I love cooking. My mom, she's a chef. I learned with her a lot when I was a kid. I was helping her in the kitchen a lot, and I developed this passion for cooking.
Cool. Your mom's a chef.
What kind of chef? My mom started as a chef, like for everything, and then later on she specialized in pastry. Not pastries, baking.
Baking chef. Well, we'll have to, any question, we're growing and we're going to have business and cooking and all these other verticals coming in these channels. So
she's there.
Well, I might have to grab your mom and get her on. That'd be great.
Oh, man, so it's such a problem when I go spend time with my parents.
Yeah.
Literally, can you imagine the situation? There are 2 fridges, 2 full-size fridges in my parents' kitchen. Yeah. One, it's for the household food. And the second one is for all the ingredients, all the fillings, all the covers, all the everything cake. So you have literally a full fridge.
And you come home tired from training, and it's just
have literally a full-size fridge filled with cakes in my mom's home. So it's like, I love them, but it's not. I can't go home for too long. It's not the best for me. It's not the best for me to spend a lot of time there.
That 9% body fat suddenly thrown out the door.
It goes away real quick.
I love it, mate. Well, okay, a couple real quick questions, and these you can just sort of answer quickly. Who's the greatest of all time athlete in the world? Not just swimmer. Who do you think is the greatest of all time athlete? I'm throwing it out there like a random one.
Oh my God. First one that comes in my mind, Michael Phelps.
Okay.
Michael Phelps. How many Olympic medals again? 30. It's over 30, right?
Oh, I don't know. I think everybody lost count. Remember that little dial they were counting and then they just scrapped it?
Remember the picture he took after Tokyo with all of them? Oh my God. That was one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen sports related. But Michael Phelps, you know what? It's not only about the sports feat, the athletic feat. It's about the background that comes with swimming. If you talk about American football, basketball, soccer, there's so much money behind that. Of course, it's not easy, but I feel like if I was paid $30 million a year, that will help a lot.
Yeah, probably you'd build a nice team around you, have a decent house.
They'll play a lot. Yeah. When you're a swimmer, or a wrestler or a boxer or whatever, any other sport, it's you and your coach.
Yeah.
Period.
And he's done that for 20 years or whatever he did. Because for me, it's not even the medals, the longevity of it all. It's absolutely insane.
Michael Phelps, period.
Yeah, I like that answer. Okay, next one. If you could sit with any 3 living people, who would it be and why? Sit and have dinner or have a coffee. Who would you want?
Me, you, and probably Michelle, because I love her a lot, because the only thing that matters is like right here, right now. I don't want to be fantasizing about people I don't even know.
I love it. Good man. Well, I feel very privileged. Thank you very much. You're somebody that appreciates being present, and that's something
I do. I had to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
I had to learn it the hard way. I wasn't like that, and that led me to a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and yeah, I learned it for the good.
I love every time you mention your wife's name and you put her up on a pedestal. It's just it's beautiful to hear. I just love that.
Yeah.
All right, final question, and it's a whopper. What advice could you give to listeners on how to optimize their own lives?
Despise mediocrity.
Despise mediocrity. I like
Wake up. No, let's rephrase, because the brain, it doesn't understand negatives, so you cannot tell them not to do something. So let's just put it in a way that people can understand. Just wake up every day to be great, to be phenomenal in whatever. Be a great father, be a great husband, be a great son, be a great student, be a great, whatever you do, be great. Don't settle for mediocrity, because it's just not worth it, man. I mean, whatever you believe, you're not sure if you're going to leave again. You're not sure if you're going somewhere after here. For all you know. So let's just be safe and be great right now, instead of hoping for an afterlife or another life, right?
That's phenomenal, mate. It's funny, I quite often, I don't do it every day, but I often just say, today's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
Just wake, and I say it out loud, and I do it. And I know that sounds strange, or I do it to the kids too, or whatever. But it's like, get it out there into the world that today's going to be a great day. And I used to have this whole thing: today's going to be a great day. I'm going to meet phenomenal people. I'm going to have great opportunities. And put it out in the universe, and then see what comes of it. And it is amazing, because I think you touched on depression, and we didn't dive into that in this episode. But I think it's something I need to almost have you back on so we can dive into it. But it's something we all touch on if we haven't gone down that spiral. It's always there, that if we don't grab it early, if we don't take the conviction of saying this is going to be a great day or make this a great day, it's very easy to get on that downward spiral, and all of a sudden
it is. And success is a mindset also. When you set yourself up to be successful, and it all starts mentally. It all starts with you giving yourself the chance of being successful, you not being in your own way. You're already starting right. You have a head start.
I love that, mate. I think that's the perfect place to end this, because I think that was just absolutely phenomenal, mate.
Awesome.
So thank you for coming on. That was
I appreciate
and driving
you,
all the way up, and I'm taking time away from your date night, but I really appreciate it.
It's okay, man. It's my absolute pleasure. And I just enjoyed the opportunity of coming here and meet you personally, because, as I said, it's very worth it when you can connect to a fellow Olympian, to someone who really knows what you're talking about and has gone through stuff just like you gone through. And we don't have as many opportunities as we wish, like that, so every opportunity I have, I just grab it.
For everybody listening, you can go find Bruno at Any Question. He's anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. So that's anyquestion.com/Bruno Fratus. And you can use that link, subscribe, go check out the app. I'm sure you're going to love it. These guys are giving so much.
The amount of knowledge
it's amazing.
There's in this app. It's mind blowing. I was going through people I never heard before, people outside swimming.
Yeah.
The amount of insight and knowledge and like valuable information, because it's not like other platforms where people are just trying to sharing whatever, People are sharing really insightful information and really valuable information. So it's almost like encyclopedia of anything.
It's the world's greatest experts, whether they're athletes, coaches, physiologists, nutritionalists, doctors, sharing valuable knowledge that you can go to Google if you want to type something in and get an answer back.
Yeah.
But
it's not personal.
It's not personal, and if you want to have trusted, experience-based knowledge and people that are well-versed in that topic. It's such that's why I've been in love with this platform from the very beginning, because I just think it's a necessary tool for people that want to learn and grow, to be able to learn from the very, very best. I mean, that's why I started this podcast. I want to learn from the greats.
Yeah.
Like, I can sit here for an hour and a half and learn from the greatest in the world, all about...
It's been an hour and a half? Seriously?
I think we have, mate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We can wrap it on, can't we?
We could do that. We could do that more often. Really enjoyed it.
Well, you're welcome.
I'll bring us some beer next time.
Well, next time we'll bring...
knows? Off season.
I did have some non-alcoholic beer in the fridge.
Off
I forgot
season.
to offer.
Yeah.
Beers in off-season.
A little steak.
Well, next time we'll bring Michelle up and we'll have Laura as a co-host. We'll have our wives here.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Yeah, that'll be...
Let's wrap it up. For everybody listening, you can find all the show notes, timestamps, and coupon codes at bennettendurance.com/media. Thanks again, Bruno. Fantastic, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed the show, your support would truly be appreciated. You can visit the Patreon page, or you can subscribe with your podcast app of choice. Don't miss the next episode, so subscribe and be notified. For show notes, if you want to know more, please visit bennettendurance.com. I'm Phil Liggett, and on behalf of Greg Bennett, here's to the next time, and I hope you will join Greg again very soon.